Joe, one thing that I think that we need to talk about that I think is going unnoticed and that not a lot of college football fans are talking about is there are a lot of programs that are making moves and hiring quote unquote general managers. Brandon Harris at Texas football this past week got promoted as the general manager. Other programs, Ole Miss, LSU, Florida, and others have made these type of roles and have hired what is going to now be in today's world in college football a general manager. I guess, Joe, when you start seeing a lot of this, Nebraska did it, Memphis did it as well. When you're starting to see a lot of these programs make these moves and hire what is general managers, Michigan did it this weekend as well. Joe, am I crazy to think that these people are being hired in these roles to just have money conversations so the head coaches don't have to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's that cut and dry. I just think that roster management is a completely different animal than it's ever been. I think that yes, we could sit here and say that, oh, it's to prevent head coaches from having to deal with these messy conversations. Yeah, that's part of it. But I think at the end of the day, having somebody who is going to manage the amount of available money for players, which I don't know if they can even really address it and talk about it that way. I think a general manager, different from a director of player personnel, is necessary in the modern version of college football because building a roster and maintaining relationships with players is so much different than it's ever been. A head coach just realistically cannot sit and try and recruit his current roster and then also to try and go out and recruit other guys to come play for his program. It's too difficult. I even can go as far as to say that I know that there are football programs that are going to outside scouting consulting in order to better determine and figure out their needs in the transfer portal. Like that's the level that we're now getting to. We're getting to a world where there's so many different pieces to the college football world that we need to now hire or outsource roster building. It has become that complex of a situation that this is the world that we live in.
How do I want to phrase this question without getting us in trouble? Joe, I do think that you're seeing programs hire people for roles to have conversations that are technically illegal to have.
Yeah.
Am I crazy to think that you're paying a guy a couple of $100,000 a year to have a conversation with kids that he's not supposed to be having? And to that point, I mean, I think that it's a blatant show of college head coaches that, hey man, we just can't do all of it. Like I see a lot of people and a lot of coaches, and a lot of media get mad at coaches. Oh, this guy's playing golf. This guy's doing this. Well, they need a little bit of sanity to themselves too. They need a little bit of a break because the college football season, even when you get in the spring and the summer and into the fall, it is a complete grind. But Joe, you're hiring guys in positions that technically conversations per the NCAA they can't have, but the state law says that they can. Florida State would Alex Atkins would have loved to have a general manager so that he wouldn't be suspended for some of these things. So it begs the question: if you're getting general managers for colleges are hiring general managers, what else is next? Because you're seeing big time universities make these moves.
I actually think that this is the final evolution of this. And I think you actually bring up a really good point. In a way, this is kind of a fall guy. The coach could say, well, I hired him, but I didn't tell him to have conversations with these kids about money and orchestrate their transportation to go talk to boosters. That I didn't tell him to do that. That was all the general manager. It's just like Alex Atkins, him getting in trouble and getting suspended and I think he got fined but regardless, got suspended, all that stuff. You think Mike Norvell didn't know about that shit? You think Mike Norvell didn't know that was going on? Right. to add a layer, a guy like
texted Alex Atkins and said, "Let me know when you drop him off."
Yeah, hey, can you get this kid a ride? That's probably what it was.
Right.
To that point, though, you add an extra layer of protection. I think that's also part of it. It's very different than the professional version of a general manager, but it's very similar in the same way. A head coach can't be responsible for knowing how much cap room you have, how much money you're spending on certain positions, and how much you're allocating for younger players, older players, and whatnot. You need somebody to handle the numbers. It is something that a head coach just can't. I mean, you need a spreadsheet guy. That's what it is. That's what this guy is. He's a fall guy and he's a spreadsheet guy.
And a guy that probably is going to have to raise funds from boosters to be able to go into the portal for their team. Joe, I mean, you mean it? I don't know enough about Ohio State's collective. You mean to tell me there's not a guy in a general manager type of role at Ohio State? Because I know that there's one at Ole Miss. There's got to be one. So unless Ryan Day is orchestrating all of this himself, which I don't think that he is. So I look at this and say to myself, like, man, you have so many universities. I think a fall guy is an interesting way of putting it, but guys that are going to make money decisions based off of the roster. And it's crazy to me that we're here and that no one blinks an eye. No one's blinking an eye. People are like, oh, well, this makes sense. So, okay.
Mark Pantoni is the general manager at Ohio State.
See? Had no clue, but knew that they had one. You know why? Because look at what they're doing in the portal. That's how I know. Guy that can go and raise funds to get money for the portal. And the head coach can't go and have those conversations. It's not his duty to do that.
I actually think that the next wave for this is that the second most hire in the next 5 to 10 years on any coaching staff is going to be the general manager. Like I really do think that we're going to get to a world where we're talking about general managers as like a huge name in the hiring cycle. I really think that that's where this is going to.
Well, we're already somewhat there. I mean,
outside of Billy Glasscock having a funny name, like how many guys do we really know?
I was about to go there. I don't care that it's LSU. Just stay with me. We saw an SEC head coach who had 11 wins this year and won a New Year's Six Bowl throw a tantrum on Twitter like a baby because LSU went and got his chief of staff, which is AKA the general manager. I mean, Joe, he was on social media throwing a hissy fit, constantly tagging people at LSU about the game that they played this year.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that Austin Thomas was not that important? Like you got Kirby Smart sending out tweets and links to their collective. So it's amazing to me. I think we're there. I think that this is the start of all of this.
Yeah, this is I'm wondering how soon that we get to that point where general managers and heck, I'd be really interested to see if we end up starting to see NFL guys that are head scouts. Right. I'm curious if that ends up being the next big thing.
They don't have to go through scouting.
Yeah.
Because the coaches got to go
out the draft. You don't have to draft. They can just say, we want this kid.
It's
Can you
crazy
go get him?
Because coaches want to get to the NFL for less stress. I wonder if GMs want to come to college football for a little bit less stress.
It's not a bad point. It's not a bad. I mean, you get to negotiate with whoever you want whenever you want to.
And the money's
rain. Yeah. Yeah.
Just got to go raise the money. All right. Interesting conversation that I think we're going to have to continue to have. Till Wednesday, good show, my man. I thought that Sean Foster would be the thing that we argued about the most, not Deion Sanders.
We wasted so much time. Talking about Colorado football is the most toxic thing that happens on the show.
It's a soap opera.
It derails the show every single time we do it. Every single time.
That's why we love it, though.
I disagree.
You don't love the show?
No, I love the show. I just don't like talking about Colorado football. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.